again, let's make sure we're recording here. And so let's do the debate. So let me go to Cyber Campus here and go to make sure that you're able to see this. So we go here to share screen, go back to Cyber Campus and go to the vote. And okay, I have to just re-sign in. So log in, close all of that. And we go to European Politics and Society, go to vote. And okay, our debate topic is to South Koreans, China should play a role in Korea's unification, similar to France's role in Germany's unification. And you wrote some interesting paragraphs, and you were all con, or at least that's my recollection. So I will divide us into two groups here, and go to breakout rooms and create two groups, and assign. Let you choose who is going to be pro. Let's rename that as pro, and rename this as con, and then ask you to join either the pro or con group. So please join either the pro or con group on this debate question. And when you vote, it will be anonymous. So please join whatever group that you wrote your paragraph on, or you feel like joining now, it's up to you. Ella, you can join a group as well. And oh, see, you all join con. So that means I have to be pro. And so I will be pro. And so I will make an opening statement, and then I will let you each respond. So I should speak no more than, say, a minute at a time. And okay, so let me just go ahead and close the rooms, because you already have prepared your paragraphs. And so I will make a pro statement on this topic. And let me close that out here and go to share screen and go here to pro. And I don't think I need to use this, do I? I mean, I don't think, no, we're not using that. We're not converting that. So I'm just going to use the microphone in my laptop here. All right. Well, I mean, when you see the debate topic, to South Koreans, China should play a role in Korea's unification, similar to France's role in Germany's unification. Should means, maybe I should separate or replace should with has to. Do you understand? I mean, Korea is not going to reunify unless China cooperates. Let me show you something that's very interesting that I show all of my students. Let's look at this Chrome site here. If I go to Korean Embassy in Australia, here you see Embassy of the Republic to the Commonwealth of Australia. So click there. And of course, this server is probably based in Seoul. But if you look at the website of any South Korean embassy anywhere, you can see some critical issues. Dok Island is highlighted. What's the other issue? Independence movement. East Sea, oh yeah, the East Sea is not the Sea of Japan. The East Sea should be called the East Sea. The sea east of Korea is not the Sea of Japan, as it's labeled on American sites. And there's another issue, and I don't see it here. Oh, maybe they removed it. There used to be, oh, they did change it. There used to be a site. There used to be on all of these sites, all these Korean embassy sites, a statement about the Chinese Academy of Sciences 30 years ago. Last time I checked, this was a year ago. That the Chinese Academy of Sciences in the early 1990s, when the Cold War was ending, and Kim Il-sung's North Korean regime was in big trouble because it wasn't getting subsidies from the Soviet Union anymore, because the Soviet Union was gone, that there was a famine. And we don't know how many people died. Hundreds of thousands of people died in North Korea. And at the same time, the Chinese Academy of Sciences declared that, did you know that Goguryeo was a Chinese empire? And you might be asking, what is Goguryeo, Professor Ben? Goguryeo, and we're running out of time here to talk about this, but Goguryeo, as any Korean can tell you, Goguryeo was one of the, you know what Goguryeo is? Goguryeo was one of the ancient kingdoms that, along with Shilla and Pekche, were formed that joined to, yeah, Goguryeo, Pekche, and Shilla. Yeah, and I think there it is. It's spelled a little bit differently. And the Chinese Academy of Sciences will claim that this ancient kingdom was a Chinese kingdom. That it was part of Chinese history, not Korean history, Chinese history. This is 30 years ago. And you can see a long time ago. And the implied message was that China was not going to allow North Korea to collapse and reunify under the pro-American government in Seoul. Aniyo, no. That China would intervene and invade North Korea and occupy it if the Kim Il-sung regime collapsed. And the justification would be, well, it's part of China anyway, historically. And that was an issue that was on the Korean embassy websites for the longest time, until it's not there now. I have to check again later. But there was something that happened in the news during the Olympics, right? If you look up Hanbok, Korean dress, Olympics 2022, there was a big controversy about this. You see these images that during the Chinese parade, during the Olympics last month, they had a Koreans, people dressed in Korean costume. And the South Korean media became very angry about this, claiming as if that these are the national minorities of China, the different national groups, because the Communist Party of China claims that everybody who lives in China loves China, the Tibetans, the Chinese, and all the national minorities, including the Koreans. In other words, this became controversial, I think, because again, Koreans as a nationalistic people are suspicious that China is claiming North Korea, that they're not going to allow Korea to reunify under a pro-American regime in Seoul. And they have the justification by claiming that, well, Korean traditional culture is as much part of China's culture as any other of the countries, of the peoples living within China. And so this was very, this Korean furious over Hanbok in Beijing Olympics opening. So, but the point is that means, to go back to my debate topic, that for Korean unification to happen, the Chinese have to cooperate. And so that's my opening statement. And so let's go then to the next person, the first person to speak. So who's going to speak first here? And let me go back to the breakout rooms. So heads, it's the first two will speak, and it is tails. Heads is Gloria, and it's tails. So Sarah, yeah, read your con statement, or make your con statement.
Okay, I will put my microphone. Okay. Well, I put that the great successful of unification of Germany. Well, it was like to South Korea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
If I can't hear you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for South Korea, looks to Germany as an example of seeking to reunify a series of missiles. Oh, wait. Of seeking unify both Koreas. However, currently, for much of the last year now, North Korea has increasingly stepped into a rapprochement efforts with a series of missile launches, demonstrating to the world that the ideas of unification of two Koreas is a long-term prospect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not going to unify.
No, because also like I also put like North Korea has the support of the what do you put like a Russian things? Oh, China's support, and South Korea has the support of the United States. So also United States has like the enemy with China. So they're like not going to unify because both countries are like enemies. So it would be like provoke a conflict between both countries.
Okay, well, I mean, sure. I mean, you're saying that if there's going to be any reunification of Korea, then US and China have to agree to it, and they're never going to agree to it. That might be true. Lots of actors, however, you know, how powerful is Korean nationalism? Can Korean nationalism overcome the intervention of outside actors to bring about the reunification? By overcoming the resistance of Washington and Beijing and maybe other actors as well. It hasn't happened yet. The Cold War ended 30 years ago, and North Korea is still there. Now, some people might say, well, North Korea is still there because China allows it to be there. If China did not support North Korea, it would disintegrate. But the point, I'm not so certain that's true, given the fact that there was a terrible famine 30 years ago and North Korea didn't collapse. Given the fact that, you know, I'm not so certain that the North Koreans know what the Chinese are claiming. And the North Koreans are as nationalist as the South Koreans. And they don't believe that they're part of the Chinese nation either. Okay, but we're running out of time here. And so let's then go to the next person to speak. And that will be, let me flip a coin. And Anais will speak of its heads. And it is tails. Ella will speak of its heads. And it's Ella. Ella, let's hear your con statement.
Okay, so I said no because I think that the situation between France and
Ella, you're
Germany-
muted.
Oh, I am? I am? Can you hear me now?
Ella.
Yeah?
I can hear Ella. So I think the problem might be different because I can hear her.
I can't hear Ella. I can't hear Ella.
Is your microphone off?
Oh, well. Well, Ella's getting her computer.
Oh no, wait. Let me, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I don't think the situations between France and Germany.
Speak more loudly.
Sorry. I don't think the situations between France and Germany and Korea and China are like remotely similar because like I think it comes from a cultural and a history background because when it comes to forgiveness, war, and dishonor, Korea's unification is completely different from Germany's reunification. So they have similar overtones, but the cultural context can't be ignored.
I can barely hear you, Ella.
Sorry. So I said Korean culture values the country as a whole, and anyone stepping in to help, I believe, in this Korean matter would be seen as an offense, or I believe would be seen as a dishonor or offense of some sort. I think the relationship with China is very complicated, and that we must take into account the history and the cultures behind the two countries and how different they are in comparison to their EU counterparts. I think South Korea probably doesn't want to have China in such an intimate role in a very personal, very Korean matter.
Okay. And so maybe I should mute. No, I can't mute. I have to be able to speak. Okay, so and then Anais and Gloria. Okay, so who will speak next? Anais. And it's heads, Anais, your con statement.
Yes, so I believe that for China to agree to the Korean reunification, they will need to be convinced by South Korea. So South Korea will have to convince them possibly through the economy, like West Germany did with France. But also French leaders believe that the European Union is a good tool to use to get back France's prestige versus China believe they can do well on their own.
Yeah, it sounds like you both and Ella are making the point that basically, as long as we have those communist regimes in North and South Korea, North Korea and communist China, there's not going to be reunification of Korea because the United States, the regime in Seoul is always going to be pro-American. Okay, and then finally, Gloria.
Yeah, so I
as I already said in my reading, I highlighted three notions. One is that China is acting like an independent power in the world, as well as Europe could also. France is unified in this powerful Europe and can end up showing that Europe should be independent from others power in the world. So yeah, the second notion I noticed while reading the text was that German and Korean reunification histories are completely different from each other. So after the two world wars, Germany has seen some part of its territory annexed to other countries, this one taking power over the German economy. However, China and Korean and Chinese history is wide and too broad. But nowadays, the relationship between Korea and China, which has for a long time been diplomatic, have deteriorated a bit because China has shown its support to North Korea and need to find a balance for its economic and political relation. So these storylines are widely apart from each other. Yes, China is one of the most powerful countries in the world. Nevertheless, China is also under a communist regime guilty of crimes against humanity. And Korean reunification should not be attempted by such regime. Europe has also its flaws, obviously, but I don't think that Korea and China should formalize a friendship like Germany and France did. And also, as you highlighted, South Korean regime is under pro-American ways of reign. So it might be really difficult to reunificate between a communist regime and a liberal one, a democratic one.
Yeah, unless there's some kind of revolution somewhere. Somebody's going to have a revolution. It sounds like what everybody's saying. Okay, so on that note, please then vote on the debate topic on the forum, and please do that now. Vote, please. And 4 of you said Khan. All right, well, that pretty much decides it. All right, well, I have to shut down here because I have to get out of this classroom. So see you Monday. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, no, I'll have an update
Yeah.
probably today. All right, bye-bye.